Hi everyone, welcome back to Carnivore Revival. I am Emily, and I am here this episode to answer questions that you all have posted in the comments section. A little brief history about me. I'm a type 1 diabetic since 1991, and using the keto carnivore diet, I am reversing long-term complications through nutrition. So let's get right to the first question. The first question comes from Lynn 8524, and her question is, how do I boost my ketone burning? I personally boost my ketone burning by several methods. Number one, I always, every morning in my coffee, add some MCT oil. Recently I've given up dairy. I used to put heavy whipping cream in my coffee. I no longer do that. I do a little bit of MCT oil in my coffee, and that will sustain me all the way until my afternoon. I eat dinner normally around 4. So I'm not hungry until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock maybe. At 4, I'm ready to eat my steak. I also boost my ketones by fasting. So in the mornings, I do not eat solid food. I'm not hungry when I wake up in the mornings. Number one, there's something called the dawn phenomena in diabetics, where naturally your body will give you glucose and elevate your blood sugar first thing in the morning. So number one, your breakfast is basically the energy is provided by your body. Called the dawn phenomena. So I'm not hungry in the morning, and my blood sugars when I wake up, about 15 minutes after I wake up, are elevated a little bit, so I don't eat solid food. I have my MCT oil, that'll get me through the afternoon. Number two, while I'm fasting, I will exercise. I know that sounds really counterintuitive, especially in American society. We are programmed, oh, I feel a little hungry, I need to eat. Not right. Think about our ancestors way, way back in the day. When they felt hungry, what did that mean? That did not mean eat. That meant, I need to go out and get food. I need to go hunting. So when you feel hungry, generally when I feel hungry, is when I get moving. I'll start doing laundry, I'll go for a walk, I'll do whatever to get me moving, and generally the hunger will go away after about 15 minutes, and then if I'm still hungry and it doesn't go away, that's when I eat. And that's when I have found, when you're fasting and you exercise, that I burn the most ketones during that time. But in order to burn ketones at all, you've got to become fat adapted first. So that's the number one thing to do, is become fat adapted, and then you can start worrying about boosting your ketones. But to answer your question, Lynn, if you're fat adapted, I would do MCT oil, I would fast in the mornings, and then I would exercise throughout your day to burn extra ketones. The second question, I'm sorry if I butcher your name, Emrel Gohari 1441. Their question is, have I had, me personally, any diabetic ketoacidosis instances since I started keto carnivore? Now, let me be very specific. Diabetic ketoacidosis is something completely different than ketosis. Ketosis is a metabolic state where your metabolism is burning fat instead of carbohydrates. Diabetic ketoacidosis is when your blood literally becomes acidic, and it's deadly. So before I did the keto carnivore, I was going into what they call DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis, at least once a year. I would have to be hospitalized. I would have to get all my numbers stabilized till they would discharge me. And it was at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. Since I've been on keto carnivore, since 2020, of August of 2020, I haven't had one issue with diabetic ketoacidosis. I can remember back in 2018 when people would come to me with suggestions like, maybe you should try the keto diet. That was my number one excuse back then. I'm diabetic. I can't do that. I'm going to be in diabetic ketoacidosis. Boy, was I wrong. You don't go into ketoacidosis with ketosis. It's simply changing your metabolic state. The third question, it comes from Hortense Mason 4073. They have lots of questions. Number one, how long did it take to feel more energy? Number two, am I lightheaded? Do I have any dizziness? And number three, how is my gastroparesis now? For me, Hortense Mason, it took about 10 days till I got over the keto flu, what they call the keto flu, where you start becoming fat adaptive, to where day 11, I started having more energy. Now that I've been keto, carnivore since January of this year, my energy is through the roof. But it's been almost 4 years since I've been on some kind of ketogenic diet. The second question of, do I get lightheaded and dizzy? Yes, sometimes, but I don't believe it's from the diet. I personally have a laundry list of health complications from being type 1 diabetic since 1991. One of them is anemia. I'm severely anemic, which means I don't have enough red blood cells. Because of my kidney failure, your kidney produces red blood cells. My last EGFR was 30, normally is around 100, so I'm anemic. So yes, when I stand up too fast, sometimes I get dizzy or lightheaded. But I will say the lightheadedness and dizziness has really improved since I've been carnivore. Much improved. On the keto diet, strictly keto, not carnivore, but vegetables and low carb vegetables, I still had a lot of instances of getting dizzy and lightheaded. Your last question about gastroparesis. I love this question. Okay, so gastroparesis is basically when your digestive system, because of my diabetes, has gotten so much nerve damage done to it that I don't digest food properly, and it will just sit in my stomach. Like paresis means paralysis. So my stomach and intestines are literally paralyzed. When I started the keto diet, my gastroenterologist, my GI doctor said, you got to stay away from high fat food. You got to stay away from nuts. You got to stay away from meats. They were wrong. Now, I will say certain meats do upset my gastroparesis, like really smoky foods such as brisket or ribs that are coated in that smoke, that have the ridge of smokiness around the outside of the meat. That still aggravates my gastroparesis. But since I've been keto carnivore, I've had maybe 1 or 2 flares of the gastroparesis. Since I've been on carnivore since January of this year, I have had 0 instances of a flare. I eat all the steak I want. I eat all the fat I want. When I was on the keto diet, I ate all the nuts I want. So needless to say, it took about a year for the gastroparesis symptoms to really get under control. But yeah, I've had a lot of success. I don't even see my GI doctor anymore because I don't even need that medication anymore. Yeah, great success with that. The last question I have comes from Honey the Rat 2017, and their questions, there's 2 questions. Do I have peripheral neuropathy? And the second question is, has it reversed? To answer your question, yes, I have peripheral neuropathy. So bad that I've been diagnosed with a foot disease called Charcot foot disease, which is basically your bones become really brittle in your feet and you break them just by standing on them. I've broken 13 bones in my left foot and 4 in my right. At one point in my life, from 2017 to 2020, I was on a knee scooter for 3 years. So yeah, neuropathy kind of went hand in hand with my story. Since my last fracture in my foot, I have not broken any bones since I've been on the keto diet. Matter of fact, I'm actually, I believe, regenerating my nerves. I used to not be able to feel my toes at all. No joke, you could chop off my toes and I wouldn't even feel them. Now I can feel my big toes. I know this sounds crazy, but yes, your nerves regenerate. They can regenerate. The first key is, number 1, to keep your blood sugars in a normal range. The average human body will regenerate the nerves 1 to 2 millimeters per day, but you have to be healthy and your blood sugars have got to be in range, normal range. Once you achieve that, it's just a matter of time. I am 5'6", so from my head to my toes, it's approximately 1,700 millimeters. And if I'm going to go on the low side, let's just say it takes my nerves regenerate 1 millimeter a day. It's going to take about a little over 4.5, 4.65 years to get complete feeling back in my feet. But yes, that can be reversed. Honey the Rat, that can be reversed. It's just a question of determination, managing your blood sugars, not just managing them, but keeping them in normal range and giving them time to regenerate. Again, this is Emily. This is Carnivore Revival. I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is my own personal experience, my own personal journey. I give all the glory and healing to God ultimately. I hope this video brings you some hope, some help, and some healing. Bye for now.